So, hello, I'm back here again to talk about American domestic politics. I was here to say that I was continue off my discussion in the last post. Yeah, we're learning more and more disturbing details coming out of these files. You know, not call me not surprised though. I'm not surprised by any of this. I kind of knew all this was going to happen. So it's just the thing is, people are so repulsed right now by the current leadership that I'm now starting to see more conservatives popping up. And I know people are saying it's fake news, but I got news for you. The only people that are lapping this Kool-Aid up are hardcore MAGA. Everybody else is waking up. Okay. There's a lot of former Republicans or still are conservatives that don't feel like they have a home politically right now, that are basically so angry and feel so betrayed by this current administration that they're willing to possibly vote for Democrats, and they're saying it out loud because they feel deceived by the GOP. Because I know I like to say this every day that they voted for this, and I feel like they did, but at the same time, I don't know if that's really what they truly voted for. Not everybody. I'm not here to read everybody's mind. Again, some people are just vote the way they vote because that's how they were raised, that's the politics they grew up in, and we don't have great political outreach from either party. That's just reality. And to be honest, the Democrats have been failing on that. So we really can't be sitting here pointing fingers and yelling all the time because Democrats don't really try to reach out to other voters. Democrats have been slacking on that for a while. Even in the state of Nevada where I live, Democratic Party used to have the upper hand in Nevada. You know what happened after COVID? That stopped. The Democratic Party stopped trying to win the state. Once people were allowed to go to the DMV and register themselves to vote, Democratic Party stopped doing registration drives. Once people voted to support open primaries, for open primaries, a lot of that energy stopped for the Democrats registering voters. So, because when they did the numbers, they realized more nonpartisans are in Nevada than Republicans and Democrats alike, more independent voters, and independent voters could either not vote or they can swing either way in elections. Okay. But I guess recently, in the last election, people voted against open primaries, which I still ask myself why they do that, because I 100% am supportive of open primaries, even as a registered Democrat, because I want independents to participate in our primaries. I don't want to alienate any voter. But before, the Democratic Party had a registration advantage drive because Nevada Democratic Party did great outreach in Nevada for years. And I ain't gonna lie, after Harry Reid kind of fell out of the picture, once Harry Reid passed away and stopped doing all that, once his influence wore off, which again, I had a lot of disagreements with Harry Reid because I felt like he was trying to dictate everything about the Democratic Party in Nevada, and that made me mad because there were candidates I supported that Harry Reid sabotaged effectively, and I didn't like that. And he was very much an old school moderate Democrat, which I'm not. I'm a proud progressive. But he was genius politically, though. He knew how to do political drives. He knew how to get politicians elected. And the guy was savvy as heck. He was a true political machine. Okay. And he did deliver a lot of results for the Democratic Party in the state of Nevada. All right. And he was an awesome leader. So I had a lot of disagreements about him. But he did know how to lead a caucus. He did know how to get Democrats on board to do things. Because I'll be honest, since Democrats have not had a leader like him, I've seen the change. Democratic Party's leaderless without Harry Reid, which is unfortunate. Even in Nevada, leaderless without Harry Reid now. The Democratic Party in Nevada has become a mess since Harry Reid passed away. Okay. Democratic Party as a national party has become a mess since Harry Reid passed away. Once Harry Reid vacated his Senate seat, Democratic Party got much weaker, and that's because they no longer had a strong leader, Again, I have my disagreements with Nancy Pelosi, and I still do. because again, she's old school. She's part of that corporate machine. She represents the elite class. But she was a savvy leader, and she was a savvy politician, and she knew how to wing a caucus. She knew how to get votes, whip up votes to get things done. She was effective in a lot of ways. That's more than I can say about Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. They're terrible. They can't lead nothing. So I see what's lost. Even though I had disagreements with these two political leaders, I seen where their effects didn't matter. And Nevada especially, Nevada's become leaderless after Harry Reid passed away. Democratic Party's they've lost their momentum. And, the Democratic Party failed. I hate to say it, because Donald Trump won Nevada in 2024. That should have never happened. Okay. I'm just saying, FYI. Democratic Party flubbed, especially in Nevada. Because that was the first time Nevada went red in 20 freaking years. We have not voted for a Republican candidate for president since 2004. 20 years to date. I remember watching election results that night in 2024 just being repulsed, going, oh my God. Trump won Nevada by 3 points, by almost 50,000 votes. Donald Trump? I'm sitting there thinking to myself, Nevada, really? And I'm like, oh, fuck. But I'm shrugging my shoulders and I'm thinking, well, yeah, but then I'm not surprised because the Democratic Party, they stopped doing voter outreach after 2020. It's like the pandemic gave an excuse to step back and recoil. They truly become the party of a consulting class. And to the credit to the Republicans, they were doing voter outreach like you wouldn't believe in Nevada. They were going door to door. They were doing voter registration drives. They were standing at DMVs registering voters. To their credit, they tried. Republican Party has picked up the pace in Nevada. That's just reality. So as a Democratic voter, I can't be angry about that because they put out the effort. You know what I mean? I don't agree with their agenda. I have a heck of a lot of criticisms of it. I don't like anything they're doing. But they put out the effort, especially in the state of Nevada. And they didn't let COVID stop them. Matter of fact, they picked up the pace after COVID. All right. They were trying so hard to flip Nevada red, and they did it. Minus all the other elections. They did it at the presidential level, though. Okay. But that's pretty sad because there's nothing that they're selling that's popular with the American public. Okay, if anything, people are angry by what they're seeing. They want this guy out of office now. People are basically done with Trump right now at this point. But they at least put out the effort in Nevada. Democratic Party, they just recoiled and got complacent. They thought, well, of course we're going to win. It's Donald Trump. We beat him the last time around. But in some states, by a hair of a chinny chin chin. In 2020, during the pandemic. Okay. Which I'm going to tell you all the truth. If it wasn't for the pandemic, Donald Trump would have got reelected in 2020. I hate to admit that, but it's true. All right. So he decided to take a second shot at it. And that's exactly what happened. Now, the thing is, Democratic Party dropped the ball in Nevada. They stopped doing voter outreach here, and Republicans picked up the pace. They basically learned what Democrats did in the past in Nevada. And that's how they won in Nevada. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all later. Have a great night. Goodbye.